everyone, welcome to Friday's practice. So next week I'm hoping to be able to teach 2 sets of outdoor sessions at school, so possibly won't be doing the same level of filming next week, so this might be the last filmed Explore class for a little break, depending on how many people I can fit in next week. So it'd be lovely to see you though. I'm really looking forward to just practicing face to face for once rather than filmed. So today we've got a sort of 30-minute practice, quite quick. We're going to move through things quite quickly, but if you want to take your time in practices, then obviously you can pause the video, or in poses, pause the video and just take your time. I've got 2 blocks today, really useful. I'm going to use those to really increase the depth of the twists that we're doing today. So there's quite a few twists. Obviously if you've got lower back issues, keep the stride short, keep the knees bent, and don't go deeply into the twist. Just focus on the length of the spine rather than the fold. So if you can grab some boxes or some bricks or something like that, that's quite useful. So we're going to make a start then. We're going to just come into our practice doing some sun salutations. So opening up the toes, pressing down through all 4 corners of both feet, pushing the floor away, lengthening up through the front of the pelvis, stretching up through the top of the head, roll those shoulders a few times, and then when you're ready, just come into practice and settle for a moment. Just pop the heart through to the front. Very warm today, so obviously if you're quite warm, then you may be taking slightly deeper stretches, so that's great, but just be careful you don't go too far. So take a deep breath in. We're just going to take some arm work at the moment. Deep breath in, sweep the arms up, stretch up and lengthen the front of the body, and breathe out the hands down. Take 3 more of those. Deep breath in. Start to open up the chest a little bit more, and breathe out at your own pace. One more. So practicing on the patio today, just to show that you don't need lots of width and space. Okay, I'm just going to move my mat back a tiny bit as well. There we go. Okay, so then coming down into a forward fold now. Soften those knees, hands to shins. Deep breath in. Breathe out, dive forward. Pop the heart through to the front. Bend the knees, lift the tail, and then draw the shoulder blades down to the tail and look up. Pop the heart through to the front. Bit like a cow back. Stretching away. Breathe out, flex the other way, stretch forward. If you're staying parallel, stay here, or breathe out, fold. Feel free to have a block in front of you if you prefer. Fingertips stretching away. Thinking about the hip points here. So thinking about the tilt up or too much anterior tilt. So that's the top of the pelvis dropping forward. Lovely. Soften off, breathe in, sweep all the way back up, stretch up. And breathe out back to Namaste. Deep breath in. Same again. Soften the knees off, breathe out, cow back. Extend away. Lift the tail, draw the tail up and drop the belly. And then breathe out, curl it back up, stretch away, and keep that hip tilt here as you bring the fingers to the tops of the thighs and just roll forward a little bit. Stretching away, forward, lifting. Okay, so lifting the tops of the thighs and keeping the pelvis nicely level. Soften off, deep breath in, all the way back up, stretch up. And breathe out. Lovely. Take it a bit further then. You might want to move the block out the way if you've got one in front. Deep breath in. And breathe out, fold. Extend away. Place, stride right. Stride left. Plank. Knees down if you need to, or through your chaturanga to your up dog. Keep lifting the legs, pushing the feet into the floor, drawing the energy up the body. And then breathe out your first down dog. So adjust your hands, roll the shoulders, draw the triceps into the body, draw the hands together, lift the tops of the thighs, and you're just lifting and dropping away. That's it. Lovely. Deep breath in, look up, stride right and left. Extend, breathe out, fold, Breathe in, soften, push the floor away, bring yourself all the way back up. I think I'm slowly losing my head from the video. I'm going to move back a bit. Deep breath in. And breathe out, fold. Breathe in, extend. Place, stride left. Chaturanga, knees down. Through you go. Popping up, lift the knees, strengthen the legs, firming up the belly. And push back to your down dog. Adjust, draw the arms in, settle, and lift the tops of the thighs. Left leg forward, right leg forward, extend, breathe out, fold. Keep thinking of the tops of the thighs, folding down, and then soften off, bring yourself all the way back up. And breathe out. Taking an Utkatasana and then a twist. Okay, trying to check where my head is. The sun is very bright. So, if you've got a block, you've got the option here to space out, pop it between your knees, sit down, fan open, keep those hip points level. So we're going to keep the hands on the tops of the hips to just see what's happening with the tail. Okay, so pop the heart through to the front, sit yourself down as best you can, and try not to let the tail lift too much. Sitting down, stretching through, keep the hands here, or you can bring the hands into the chest. Firm up the legs, draw the energy up into the belly. Breathing here. Slight twist. So what we want to do is keep the pelvis static and just finish the pose with the chest. But there is going to be some rotation. So place your right hand on your right hip, left hand on outside of left knee, roll the hip open as you roll the shoulder open and stretch through. Keep those hip points facing forwards, but the back of the right hip will lift and swivel slightly. You can feel that happening as you go through. Breathing here. Up to you if you want to take the arm high, you can, or just keep it there. Disengage. Breathe in back to center. Left hand to back of left hip. Lift left hip up and swivel, and turn. Finish the pose through the chest. Deep breath here. Breathing in. Keeping those hip points nice and level. Lovely. Breathing out. Release that off. Fold the arms. Lengthen away. If you need your hands in positions, just check what the thighs are doing. Get yourself into the fold position first before you then fold the arms. Bring the weight forward lightly so you've got weight between all four corners of the feet. Fingers to the floor, bend the knees, push the floor away, deep breath in all the way back up. And breathe out. Lovely. Okay, next then we're going to stride back into our low Anjaneyasana. So have a block handy here. So I'm going to come forward momentarily, you might lose my head, and then we're going to go back. So stride back, get to a decent stride, and drop the knee down. Okay, pad up if you need to, flatten the back foot, and the front knee is nicely vertical over the ankle. Then the temptation here is to sink towards the floor, and if you place your hand on the lower back, you can feel what happens to the lower back. You get this increased lordosis. So come up, place the hand on the lower back, and sit down. So what we want to avoid is too much sag in this pose. So we're going into the twist. So you can have a block handy if you prefer on the inside of the left leg, or you can take the fuller twist where you take the arm across to the thigh. So your call, place the flat hand on the lower back here, or the thumbs just at the SI joint. Pop that heart through, breathing here, lengthening, and keep buoyant so you can sink a little bit, but keep that pelvis nicely level to feel that stretch through the hip flexor. Breathing here. Lovely. And then taking a twist, so keeping the pelvis level, we hinge. So we keep the pelvis as level as we can as we lengthen through the top of the head. Place the right hand on the block, and spin, or if you prefer, you can cross the hand over and spin. Hamster Namaste is nice here. Keep thinking about the pelvis and keep that engagement. So you should now feel a stretch through the front of the right hip and the back of the right hip. Keep breathing, those stability muscles around the SI joint. Breathing here. Lovely. Release that off. 2 bricks now if you want to in front, and lift up into Anjaneyasana. You might want to shorten your stance for this one. So bring the heel above the toes. Okay, heel above the toes at the back. Straighten that leg. Go deeper. And the same rules apply for the front leg. So the front shin parallel. So with your blocks, or vertical above the ankle. Keep buoyant, so we don't want to sink, and feel that stretch under the lower groin and the areas. Okay, keep firming up, keep lengthening and stretching away. Option here to take the right hand down and spin. So the twist is coming from the torso. Okay, you'll feel the difference here. If you keep that pelvis level, keep the hand in there to ground this left hip and turn. Option if you want to, obviously, to take it deeper. Keep that very buoyant back leg. Breathing here. Chatting away so you don't lose the pose. Lovely. Just pop that head back a little bit. There's a temptation to stick the head forward. Just draw the head back. Lovely. Carefully release that off. Stability of the blocks, look up and shorten the stance. Bring it back up, lengthen, breathe out, fold. Soften the knees if you need to. Take the stretch forward, the Ardha, half Uttanasana forward, flat back this time, level off the pelvis, curling the tail under lightly. So, option to come all the way back up if you need to. Take a moment. I'm way off camera now, I think. And then we're going to stretch back to left leg. So left leg back, knee down. Find where you can be comfortable. Again, we're going to come up, place that left hand on the lower back, flattening it off. Draw the pelvis forwards rather than tipping it, and sink and see what happens. Quite strong. Okay, bring yourself out. Get the left brick into position. Right hand on lower back this time, so you can change. Just draw yourself to the position where the front shin is vertical and the legs are active, firming up the belly. Lengthen here and into the twist. So the twist will come through the waist. Just feel that right hip moving. Open it up. Take it deeper if you prefer. Keep the buoyancy in the legs. Keep sucking in, draw that head back. Pop the heart through to the front. Breathing here. Lift in the pelvis, not saggy. Nice active legs. Press and tuck those glutes if that helps. Breathing back to center and up to the high position. So hands on the blocks, tuck up, bring the heel above the ankle at the back, and a really strong leg. So we're not hyperextending the knee, but we're drawing all that energy to straighten it up into the hip. Stay here if this is enough, lengthening. If you're happy to continue, keep lengthening. Place the hand on the right hip. You can feel the right hip lift, and there is a spin to the right. Take it easy here. If you want to cross into the higher poses. Top that head back, pop the heart through. Breathing here. Breathing strongly, firming up the belly, firming the legs, pressing the floor away actively. And carefully exit. Slowly look up, bring that leg in, move those blocks out of the way. Just going to go back a little bit. Hands on the shins, Ardha Uttanasana. Firm and lift, just check the pelvis, curl it under, and then lift the hips, lift the tops of the thighs and stretch forward. Ardha Uttanasana to lengthen and draw the shoulders back down. Even weight through toes and heels. Soften the knees off, roll yourself down, and then roll back up. Soften the knees, just Pilates-esque, let the arms go heavy. Slowly does it. Bring yourself up to standing. Okay, halfway through the practice then, we're going to focus now on our warriors. So we're going to look at warrior 1.5. Okay, so not warrior 1, not warrior 2, warrior 1.5. Okay, so this is where we'll have our bricks handy as well, or boxes, or sandwich boxes, or whatever you've got. So from the front of the mat, going to stride back right. Okay, find your warrior 2 to start with. Okay, parallel back foot, parallel to the back of the mat. Change that. Okay, so bring the left foot across a little bit, off the center line, and take the right leg across and just come into warrior 1.5. So turning the foot in about 45 degrees. Same rules apply with that back leg. So you're straightening, firming, trying not to push back through the knee, but drawing the energy up the leg as you then turn. So hands to hips as you bring yourself through. Check those hip points aren't sticking backwards. So we're not increasing the lordosis, we're not increasing that back bend in the lower back. Bend here and just settle into position. Keep straightening. We turn to the diagonal, that's absolutely fine. We're not firmed straight forward. We're slightly off to the side here, but focusing on the pelvis. Hip points are level, so we're not ticking the tail out behind. We're curling it under and firming up the legs. Up to you here. You can open up, feel the position of the pelvis with the hands. If you want to then take it higher, hands to namaste, or stretching up into the warrior 1.5 extension. Lengthening here. Lovely. Release that off, take warrior 2. So back to that original position. Go a bit wider if you can. Bend that front knee. I'm going to push away and lift. So rolling the inner thighs out lightly, but then push the floor away. Bring that shin parallel, vertical, at the front. Drop the shoulders down the back and sit here. And again, hands to hips is good. Lovely. Also option here to draw the hands down the back. So we're opening the shoulders, checking in with the legs, breathing here. Draw the hands up carefully if you want to. But again, nothing's moving here. You may go a little deeper, but there's still that buoyancy in the pose. Stride forward, soft roll down, raising floor, bring yourself back up, striding across, back to warrior 2 again on this side. So go a little bit wider and then taking it to warrior 1.5. So bring the toes in, step across, off to the diagonal. So that front leg vertical, firming up the back foot. So we're going to pile drive down all 4 corners, lift that energy up into the hip and spin to the diagonal. So not facing forward for warrior, off to the side slightly. Firm and push down, take that energy up into the body as we place the hands and pop the heart through to the front. Check the pelvis, check it's not flipping forward and back. Settling away here, firm, breathing. Option to take the hands to namaste, drop the shoulder blades down the back but lift the heart. And then option, breathing here, going up to warrior 1.5. Keep that buoyancy, we're not sagging. There's a lot of activity going on here. Adjust then, settle back across, go a bit wider if you want to, into that warrior. Vertical knee, but still firm. Roll open the thighs and settle. Hands to the back here, pop the heart open. Check that knee isn't dragging over. So again, if you need to turn lightly and settle, hold here into that lift warrior namaste hands, Anjali Mudra, or stretching out and away into your full pose. Breathing here, even weight completely between both feet, so there's no tipping forward or back. Lift, create lift through the legs, firming up. Deep breath in, stride yourself forward. Pilates roll down, hands to the thighs, drop the chin, roll yourself down. Carefully does it, if you're not going all the way down, that's fine. Settle here into an Uttanasana or Padangusthasana if you'd like, or Ardha Uttanasana, flatten back, stretching through the top of the head. Soften the knees off, roll yourself all the way back up. So here we're going to take our Parsvottanasana. So this is always a tricky Parsvottanasana, it's always a tricky one. So we're going to have our 2 boxes separate here. Okay, if it ends up to be you know, a few books, hardback books, something sturdy, something that's not going to bend. Okay, we're going to put weight down through the hands, but it is quite light, so there'll be an indication there of whether you're pushing too much. So, middle of the mat, stride back just into that simple walking stance. Just adjust the toes out ever so slightly, but keep the pelvis straight. So, firming up the feet, straightening both legs, and just checking that the pelvis, the hip points, aren't anteriorly tilted so that the pelvis isn't tipping its water forwards. Okay, imagine it's a bucket. Okay, stretching up through the top of the head, draw the energy in here. You can feel that the pelvis has to tip, okay, but the length through the spine just means that there is that acceleration of activity through the front of the leg. Okay, so we're avoiding that hyperextension of the knee, drawing energy up the left leg to draw yourself over. Find your blocks and stretch. Okay, we don't going to go any lower, we're just going to concentrate on drawing energy up the leg like a straw, keeping the hips nicely straight and stretching away, breathing here. Still firm through that back leg, pressing down through the floor. So good firming legs. Deep breath in, soften it off. Bring yourself back up, swap legs. Each side's going to be slightly different depending on the tension in your hips. So find your pose, check the pelvis, check the level. Okay, keep the hands or hip, thumb points on the back of the pelvis so you can feel that extension. So press down through the back leg and firm. Lift up and draw the energy up that right leg. As you lengthen, 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 the pelvis tilts, but there's not a flick up of the tail. The tilt is coming from the torso and the pelvis is following, if you like. Breathing out, into position, keep drawing up, keep pushing down through the legs. Find your blocks and stretch away. Just keep checking that pelvis is nicely squared and pushing down evenly through both feet, stretching through the top of the head. Lovely. Soften it off, bring yourself back up and step through to standing. Okay, so then we're going to take our Trikonasana variations now. So we're just going to take Virabhadrasana, Trikonasana, quick twist. Probably going to run over by 5 minutes, actually, so it'll be a 35-minute practice. Okay, so release it off. Bricks out to the side for the moment. Actually, I lie. We're going to have one over to the side, right side to start with. Okay, so up to the front of the mat, stride back. Okay, into your warrior 2, firming up into your Virabhadrasana twist. Okay, so we're going to take the stretch, open up, buoyancy. You may want to just have those hands on the hips, settle into position, and then bring yourself up and draw that energy up the right side and settle here. If that's enough for you, great. So Virabhadrasana, and then we're going to take the Pardavita twisted version. So bring yourself back up, swap the position over to that warrior 1.5 or warrior 1. So you're straightening up here. Brick into your right hand, stretching up and away, lengthening, level up that pelvis and fold yourself over as you bring the brick inside the right leg. So leveling up the pelvis, firming up the legs, draw and place the hand on the left hip as you draw the left hip up and feel that you can spin with that lift of the left hip. So left hand on left buttock or back of hip, lift the hip and push the floor away with the left foot, and then the spin is finished through the waist and the torso. Staying here, stretching away into the twist. So Pardavita Virabhadrasana. Very nice, stretching away. Option here to straighten the leg and take it into the Trikonasana. But again, you choose, and you can feel what's happening in that hip as you draw that hip back now to straighten the leg. Breathing here. So Pardavita Trikonasana. Bend that leg, release, bring yourself back up, and swap the brick over to the left. So stride back into your warrior 2 to start with, to take the Virabhadrasana on this side. So find your warrior 2, firm up the legs, Draw the energy, flatten the pelvis, get that tilt just right. Tightness in the hip is going to make that knee drop in. So just roll it out, settling here. That might be enough for you. Keep that buoyancy as you lengthen through the left hand side. Settling here. You're not going all the way down because we're focusing on the twisted version. So keep that buoyancy, keep that energy zipping up and down the legs. Really firm. Lovely. Bring it back up. Change your foot position. So into that more warrior one position. Firm up the back leg, straighten. Bend that front knee. This time, break into left hand. Settling here. And then breathe out. We're going to hinge, keep that hand on the pelvis, keep lengthening through the top of the head and drawing the tail down to the floor. Settle here first, and then lift the right hip and twist through the torso. Breathing here, good weight through that back foot, keep breathing, keep firming up the belly, firming up the legs. Lift that hip backwards into the Trikonasana. You can expand if you want to. My top shoulder isn't like that today. Keep breathing. Keep drawing the head back as well. I forgot that indication. So in all of these twists, what tends to happen if you start to pigeon the head forward. So just draw the head and the shoulders back. Okay, we'll take that again. Draw the head and the shoulders back. Still firming up. Release that off. Release the twist and bring yourself back up. Lovely. So to release those deep lower back twists, we're just going to take a couple of standing balances to finish. Okay, so first of all then, place the hand, left hand, on the back of the left hip and top of the bottom. Firm up that leg, lift up, and just notice what's happening here as you lift the right leg into a right angle position. So what we need to stop happening here is we need to firm up. So press down through the leg, press up and suck the energy up into the butt cheek and really lift those muscles against the hand. So when you feel that they've firmed, then you are ready to lift the right leg. Lovely. Keep firming, keep holding. Okay, it seems quite simple, but this is hard, and obviously getting the basis of the lifts right. So any of the standing balances, you've got to get this switch on and off of the gluteus collection, plus a couple of other stability muscles. Release it off. Onto the other side. Firm up the foot, open up the toes, press down, lift up, firming the leg, and then firm up the muscles underneath the hand. Okay, tense in that muscle of the buttock. Cinch it in, press forward, suck in the belly and firm up. And when you feel that lift through this leg, bring that leg up. Lovely. Hold, firm, lots of energy transfer going on. But in essence, if you think about when you're standing, both feet taking the weight of your torso down 2 columns, and then you've got to firm up and use the musculature when you put all that stress onto one leg. Release that off. Lovely. So then, last one. Can't even read my writing now. Good work. Lovely. So we're going to take ourselves into just a simple standing pose. So Tadasana. Finishing up here. Feel free to tack on your Shavasana or a couple of lying twists after this to release the hips off. Open up the toes. Firm up the feet. Press down and lift. Check that position of the pelvis here. Hopefully starting to free up some action around the muscles that maybe don't stretch as effectively or maybe don't firm as effectively. Hands to Namaste, Anjali Mudra, to the heart center. Lift the heart, tuck the chin backwards. Press the finger joints together, palms together, just lightly. Focus on a few more breaths here. Each breath, each out breath, lengthening. can take it down now to your lying twists and your Shavasana. Enjoy, and I'll see some of you on Monday evening, fingers crossed, for a sunny evening practice on the field. Lovely to see you then. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.